As they say, those who don't study history are doomed to repeat it. But in reality, whether you study history or not, you're doomed to repeat it. But when you do study history, you are not doomed to suffer the consequences of those same themes playing over and over again. And right now in Egypt, we are seeing a gold buying mania from the inflation that they are experiencing there. This is a story that has played out over and over and over again throughout history. When a government gets too loose and easy with its monetary policy and starts printing that cash's value away, we start to see the people turn to harder forms of money. And that is exactly what is happening right now in Egypt. Now, I'd like to point out a few things here, such as the US dollar selling for 28 Egyptian pounds in the parallel market, while the banks are setting the price of the dollar at 24.50. Now, this is something that I see happen over and over and over again, whether I'm reading a story, reading history, or talking to friends that are currently living through places that have hyperinflation right now. And one thing that happens every single time is parallel markets, sometimes called black markets, that emerge that show the true or the real price of something, where the official prices named by banks or named by the government are always going to be different because they're trying to tell a better story. And so with all the problems the dollar has, it is still better than the pound in Egypt. And so people are willing to pay right now 28 pounds on the black market for dollars. Because yes, dollars are losing their purchasing power, but not nearly as quickly as their own local currency. Now, part of the issue driving their inflation is the fact that they have to import most of their food, and the war has created higher and higher prices as it's becoming harder and harder to get your hands on dollars to afford these things, as these things are becoming more scarce, especially as they got most of their wheat exports from, I believe it was Ukraine, but it might have been Russia as well. This has meant higher and higher prices for the things that people will continue to have to buy, like food and medicine, cars, and the things that people are trying to buy to store their wealth better than their currency, like jewelry. Things like jewelry are going to be better at preserving your purchasing power than a local currency that has been devalued by the government twice so far this year, especially given concerns that their central bank will do it again in just a few weeks. You can print money, you can declare the value of it lower, but you cannot print food, you cannot print oil, you cannot print gold. And so for people who want to store the value of their labor and not have it be able to get just sucked away from them and stolen from them by a central bank or a central government that just says, now your money is worth a lot less, they're going to be doing a better job of storing their wealth if they buy things like gold. Okay, I admit the government could technically come in and say your gold is now worth half of what it was before. But as we already saw, this gives rise to things like parallel markets and black markets, where if the government declares your good is only worth something, well, then eventually that market price will break from the official price and you'll be able to find it for the real value on the open market. Egyptians have also been using things like real estate to store their wealth. Again, when governments decide to destroy the value of their currency to deal with their own problems, that means people will dump that currency as fast as they possibly can and buy anything that they can that will preserve their value a little bit better than their money will. This means that you have all sorts of misallocation of resources as a result of this, because people have to get their savings out of their money and into anything. And so that causes the flow of resources, the flow of capital, to change what it would be naturally if the money supply was simply steady, and then you could have prices respond accordingly to what people actually wanted and needed, rather than having people have to dump their currency and buy whatever they can. And it's not just individuals in countries with poor leadership that are buying gold. It is also central banks in some of the biggest countries on earth. For instance, China was just revealed to be the gold buying whale and revised its current reserves and gold holdings after years of no reported increases. A few weeks ago, I let you guys know that there was some mystery gold buyer out there, some central bank that was purchasing up a lot of gold, and nobody knew who it was. The speculation was that it was China because they've bought gold before without telling anybody until far after the fact, and it turns out that that exactly is who was buying all this gold. This is the first time they have updated their reported gold reserves in 3 years. Now, compared to past updates to their gold reserves, this is fairly small, but this likely won't be the last time we see this. And so whether it's individuals trying to protect themselves from getting their purchasing power stolen from them by their government, or whether it's central banks trying to protect themselves from having their purchasing power stolen from them by another government, you see people all around the world buying gold and storing it as a safe storehold of wealth. Now, you know that I've recommended buying gold on this channel for a very long time, but I don't recommend having all of your money in gold. So if you're interested in how gold can fit into an overall portfolio allocation so that you have enough to be protected against things like inflation, but not too much so that you're overexposed and you don't have any purchasing power for other investments that can actually increase your purchasing power, get my portfolio allocation mastery class. It is linked in the description below. It's 50% off for the holidays. As always, I really appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day.